so many things that might have been bothering you, as in anything. So just ask your questions, and then I will answer as much as I can, the best way I can, and we will in the next 1 hour that we have. So let me just connect to the YouTube, so that those that are joining us from the YouTube will be able to connect with us without any stress. Okay, so let's drop our questions. I have 20 people here. At the point I was logging in, if you are the first person to join this meeting, please drop your, just type it for me in the chat box. If you are the first person to join, just type in the chat box that you are the first to join. By the time I first connected, I joined. I met 5 people on the team, on the room, and yeah, 4 people actually, 4 people. Okay, Moses Arejoto, you are the first to join. I met Adeniji Yusuf also online. I think I met, let me be sure. I think those are the ones. Okay, I think I met Omawumi too on the team, on the meeting room. So for that, those of you that I can fix, you have a gift by the end of this meeting. So let's start, please. If you have any question, please, my secretaries, please keep dropping it on the chat room intermittently. If you have a question, just drop it in the chat room. What ways and methods? Let me also remember before I start, if you're a registered member of this community, we have a quarterly members meeting tonight by 8 p.m. Members meeting by 8 p.m. Please, if you are not a registered member, anybody can attend our master classes, but we have registered members. Registered members get direct mentorship. However, like I said, and it's free. However, the moment you join, you lose control over your finance, because I take control. Every financial decision has to pass through the mentor. Okay, what ways and method will you suggest for managing my finance in these harsh economic realities? What ways? This is a very broad question, and I will have loved that you limit it, because managing your finance is a whole lot of things, and so I could answer it in so many ways. But let me start by saying, most of the time, the way to manage your finance, be it in good economic time, bad economic time, they are similar. And whatever you don't practice when you are good financially, it may become very impossible to handle it when things are tight, when the economy reality is a bit stiff. Okay, and that's why it's good to get used to it, whether in storms, whether in booming situation, you are just on top of your finance. And so I'm going to give you these tips. Number 1, don't forget your budgeting and budget discipline is something that will always be relevant in any economic reality, Number 2, don't forget to live. This is my principle: live below your income. Okay, live below your income. If you are used to this principle and you have lived it, you discover that by the time harsh economic situation comes, adjusting will not be a problem. Let me give you an example. In this community, for all registered members, we do we do 50% of our income goes into investment. Every registered member does this. 50% minimum. In our community today, I have someone doing 67%. Okay. In this community today, I have someone doing 82% of his income. Now, let's assume that this is gone. Let me give you an example of this person doing 67%. Due to the harsh economic reality this year, I agreed that this person, okay, the budget now, because when the economy was a bit good, it was easy to manage. Now, the harsh economic reality, everything has skyrocketed. And so we came to the point and we readjusted the budget. And it came to about 51%. Okay, savings into investment. Now, this is what happens. If you are able to show up your savings or your savings for investment very high in a good time, in the bad time, you just return and it will not really be too bad. Let's even assume that this person, because of the harsh economic circumstance, returned to 40%. This will still not be a bad thing to be investing 40% of your income every month or as you earn. But if you are struggling with 50%, it's likely that in the harsh economy, you will drop to 30% or 20%. And if you are doing 10%, it's likely that in the harsh economy reality, you may be doing 0% and even be living in debt. And this is why the model that I run for this community, which I call artificial scarcity, is apt and is beautiful, because it gives you the freedom of adjustment when things goes bad. Let me tell you the truth. The reason why many people after retirement suffer either ailments or they are unable to manage their life, they run into depression and probably die early, is because they have always lived their income. And that's why I always advise, live below your income, so that whatever happens, retirement, no more salary, just some stipend from pension, or you lose your job and then no more income at all, or probably just the world economy just goes bad and the income either drops or it's nowhere, COVID-19 comes up, you discover that by the time you are adjusting, you are still adjusting to a very comfortable situation. So I will always advise you to live far below your income. The lower you are able to live below your income, the better it is to adjust to reality. Let me show you this. And I always give people, today we might blame government for every economy woes, but the truth is that economic situation around the globe today, in the last more than 5, 6, 7 years, has been very turbulent. Even before the COVID-19 came in. So now imagine that this government, I'm not a sponsor for government. As a matter of fact, I'm not a politician and I'm not affiliated. I'm not partisan. And sometimes, okay, I think they came in 2015, around between 2010, 2014, or even 2008, 2009, 2014, the price of crude oil was as high at some point to $200 per barrel, $150 per barrel, between $150 per barrel to $200 at some point, 178, 180 something. Are you getting it now? Now, and this was the state when this government came in, when this government won the election or were canvassing for the election, for votes. By 2015, just shortly before they were sworn in, this thing dropped so badly, in fact, at a point up to $20. Now, imagine somebody who had his eye on this kind of income, and then just between 6 months of campaign and election and swearing in, drops by 90%. What magic do you want this person to perform? But because most of us don't understand the economic reality, as soon as our government is not performing, we are not even looking at what's happening in the world space. We are not looking at what's happening in the finance space. We just blame our government for not doing some magic, okay? So this is how bad things became. And so without any finance intelligent person knows that whatever these people promised when they were campaigning can never find fulfillment with a 90%, or what is even 90%. This is over almost over 1,000% drop. Okay, so what am I trying to say here is, let's assume that in the years of this plenty, Nigeria was able to save, on top of every barrel, they save 50% of it, or let's even say 80%. So 80% of $200 will have been $160. So on every barrel, Nigeria is saving $160 if it's 200. If it is 150, it will save as much as about $140. Are you getting it? Now imagine what would have happened in the year of this little. It would have just been easy for Nigeria to cruise and still be very fine. So that's why financial discipline, budget discipline, and artificial scarcity, living far below your income, will help you to adjust to realities, especially in the times of financial crisis that you didn't cause most of the time, that the world just slaps on you. Okay, that is that. Please keep dropping your questions. I hope to be able to do justice to it. What ways and methods will you suggest for managing my finance in this? Okay, that's the same question. Given the financial changes in this time and era, how can I help young people in my circle understand the dynamics of digital financial regulation? How? Number one is you yourself, you need to build knowledge. You need to build knowledge. For you to carry someone, for you to show or to help people, you must also be well equipped. And don't forget, if you attended one of my seminars about 4 weeks ago, I said that wellness precedes donation. Type it for me in the chat box. Wellness precedes donation. You must be well to donate blood. You must be stable to hold somebody's hand. You must be fine to help another person. So the first thing that I will tell you is get knowledge. Get knowledge. You need knowledge to be able to help someone. You need to be well to be able to help someone. You need to be well. Your blood needs to be fine for you to be able to donate. There are so many people, if you go to the hospital, who says, I want to donate. Does anybody need blood? They plug your hand. You say, oh, a lot of viruses, bacteria in your blood, we can't take it. Oh, you have HIV, we can't take your blood for donation. So you need to be well to donate. That is number one. Number two also is you need to find a platform. You need to find a voice to speak. Today, I have a voice because I have this platform. Even though the number of people expected should be more than this, but yet, at least I'm happy. Even if this platform is able to turn 5-10 people's finance around in a month, in a year, beautiful. That is how many people, but you need to find a platform. You need the knowledge, you need to find a platform. Then you can be able to help others. Okay, thank you. I'm trying to run an online store of books, but I don't know how to generate sales. Okay, now generating sales. Now, this is one area, I told you personal finance, I am not an expert at. I am not an expert salesman. I am not an expert multi-level networker. However, I have read and I have listened and I have sat under trainings of people that are very strong in that area. So I would recommend a few things to you. I would recommend a few books to you, and I would recommend a few people to listen to. And one of the people I would recommend for you to listen to here is Eric Warren. He's one of the global sales experts across the globe. So, however, you see, today's sales had the dynamics of today's sales had totally changed. Number one, don't forget that your network and your net worth will affect your sales in different ways. That's why you see some people leave a company as network marketers and move to another company, and everybody follows them. Your network and your network. However, you must understand the social media dynamics. You must train yourself in the area of social media to be able to master it and understand how it helps you to generate sales. So when you talk about social media, you talk also about email marketing. I attended a seminar, a training organized by Eric Worre in December. And you know what? Just because of the information I submitted on that platform, almost every week I've been receiving messages, I've been receiving information, and this is what technology helps you to. This is what social media dynamics help you do, because when your information is collected, it's now you become, no matter what, except you unsubscribe, you keep getting it from me. So email marketing, your Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Twitter is mostly for corporates. Okay, but let's concentrate Instagram, Facebook. If you can have a YouTube channel, but basically Instagram, Facebook, email marketing. These are the areas where you need to develop. So find a training on social media marketing, and it will help you groom yourself in using the social media to reach out. The social media is a big, massive market, and you are not limited by any means into how far you can reach. And that's why you must, in doing this, one of the things you must understand is how to run ads. Let me not understate that the product or service that you are offering must also be qualitative. Because you are trying to run an online store for books. If you want to run online, make sure that the books that you are publishing has quality, has content. Okay, that way, whatever you are selling through your marketing arrangement will sell. It's just like calling you and I don't have something to say. So make sure that your product is good, make sure that it's qualitative, and then engage the social media marketing. And I believe that you will see a serious change. Okay, like you said, without spending so much money. Yes, social as little as 2,000 naira. Which is still about less than $4. You can run an ad for 1 week, for 5 days, for 7 days. Okay, so let's move on. Please keep dropping your questions, and if you have more questions as you have dropped before, please keep dropping. What will you suggest for a person who has a skill and job but don't know how to balance them? Is it better to quit your job and focus on your skill, or remain on the job? Now, let's see what a job is. A job is when someone engages you to help them on their dream. Your skill is helping yourself achieve your dream. So, Kate, I'm going to advise you, if you have perfected that skill, I believe very strongly that a skill can push you further than a job will ever push you. If that skill is also a passion, you will be doing two things at the same time. You will be achieving your purpose and your goals, and you will also be happy. Not many jobs keeps us happy. Not many jobs keeps us happy. Most jobs, we just do it because we have to do it and earn. But when you have a skill that is a passion, you will not just be earning, you will not just be fulfilling your dream, but you'll be happy. So, but I also want you to be able to understand what your particular, that's why mentoring, many times I can give you a global perspective, but many times, just like counseling, mentoring sometimes has to do with you putting down your situation, and then it is analyzed as per your case. Let me give you an example. Some years ago, someone got a skill. Okay. Someone who is married got a skill, and the skill is a passion. And so she was being driven very strongly to drop her job. But one intelligent thing she did was to come to speak to the mentor. And so when she came and I asked her for her current income, let's say current income is X, she's married. Is your husband also in tune and in line with you concerning? You say, yes, okay. So what is your husband's income? Husband income is X divided by 2. So I want to understand that she earns almost double of what the husband earns. So the entire salary of the family is now X times 1.5, or 150% of X. I hope my calculation, you understand it. So if X is 200,000, husband X is 100,000, and then their salary, their total family income is 300,000. That's 150% of her income. Now, your expenditure is always around 280,000. And so you have a skill, you have a passion. You must also understand that for some skill, it may not just, or many times, things may not start as at the speed we expected. So she came, she wanted to resign and face her skill. However, when I did this calculation, income 300,000, husband income 100,000, her own income 200,000, total expenditure, monthly expenditure of the family 280,000. So if she stopped work, income of the family is going to drop to 100,000, and the expenditure may likely not reduce at the maximum below 260,000. So how is this going to cope? Do you understand? So what did I do? I recommended something. I said, you know what? I know you have this passion, you have this and all of that. I said, but let's do this. Give yourself 6 months before you resign. In these 6 months, contribute all your income into a savings for investment. So contribute 200,000 into a savings for investment, and let the family depend solely on the husband income of 100,000. I said that way you'll be able to, in 6 months, understand the reality that you will face when you eventually implement your plan. And so she was very happy to try it. But I can bet you in 3 months, she changed her mind not to resign again, because there was a big crisis. 100,000, no matter what they did, couldn't meet up with the family expenditure. And so there were, all the conflicts in the family came up and all of that. So I want to understand that it is not just as straightforward to just say skill and job, I drop my job. However, it's important for you to know that when you have a skill and it's a passion, please chase it. Chase it, but do your plan, do your assessment very well. And sometimes you may need to give yourself 3 months more to do your planning. You may need to give yourself 6 months more to articulate yourself well, to also plan your budget, how things will be in case the skill does not generate the required momentum as soon as you start it. Okay, is that okay? How can I fast track my understanding in knowing the best financial opportunities in both digital and real financial space? This is important because so many opportunities keep knocking and they're all looking appealing and attractive. Please help out. The way to do this is two things. How do I fast track understanding, coaching, and mentoring? Let me give you an example. If you have this book, and it's 300 pages, a 300-page book, and you want to read it, but you have 5 other books that you want to read, each of them also 300 pages. That means in total you have about 1,500 pages of book you want to read. Okay, and so you now look at, and you want to achieve this task in 1 month. This might be almost impossible depending on the nature of your day activities. So what do? You pick one of the books, 300 pages, and you start reading it. But you found a room where there's a review of each of these books in 2 hours a day. So what do? You attend the 2 hours and get a summary of the important element of this book. You do this, you do this. So in 4 days, you have been able to summarize the 4 books, while the only one you pick, you can say you are reading for 2 weeks. In 1 month, you achieve reading 5 books of 300 pages. You know what? A very influential coach, I think it's J.C. Maxwell also, he said something, and from that day I know that when you see a man who said he has read 100 books, many times it's not that they read it 1 page after the other. There are several ways to do it. Okay, so but make sure that you are not lazy about it. But when you have a good content to cover within a short period, you might find other things, including audio reader applications. So I might even be sleeping and I play this book, and and I'm listening to it, and I do it 3 times. I might have gotten a huge volume of the content of that book. Are you following now? So what am I trying to say here? That's why we say mentors are the fastest, or mentorship is the fastest short course to success. Did you get that? Mentorship is the fastest short course. In fact, some people say mentorship is the wise man's short course to success. So you just discover that this knowledge you want to learn, you might have to attend 20 seminars to get them. But with mentorship, pam, 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 looking at the critical point that you need to do. When I wanted to learn crypto, yes, I did some studies, I did attend some trainings, but I found a mentor and I sat with him. You will not know the first day I sat with him, and I think that's the only day so far, the only day I sat with my mentor in crypto space, very young boy. The first day I sat with him, it was just about a 6 hours together. And that was the first and the only time I ever saw him face to face. I had to invite him, I lodged him, and we sat together for about 6 hours. And I learned so much than everything I have ever read. Are you getting it now? So coaching and mentoring, and number 2 is also seeking knowledge. Find the knowledge wherever you can get it, and get it. Okay, let's move on. How do you manage your finance with your family as a growing man? So when you mean a growing man, Victor, is this growing man married? Is this growing man single? Because all of these things are the things that will determine how you manage. Because let me tell you, the moment you become married, there is a likely complication, okay? Because the way you will manage your finance, not complication, but there's a likely additional consideration. The way you manage your finance as a single, it's not the same you as married. Every decision can be based on you and your mentor when you are single. When you are married, it has to be you, your partner, your spouse, and your mentor. And if you are not careful, if any of them, especially your spouse, has a divergent thinking and growing and learning, it may become a big problem. So how do you manage your personal finance as a growing man? The same, there is no law that separates you growing. The only thing is at the level of your growing gives you the volume of comfort that you may have. For example, this is what I tell people. When I tell some people that I save 82% of my income, in fact, the first question is very apt. As at 2020, I was doing 67% of my income into investment. As at 2021, January, in fact, December 2020, I've stepped it up to 82. As at today, because of the harsh economic reality, it has nosedived again to about 60-something. Are you getting it now? So we can adjust. However, even in this adjustment, you can see that this is still very high compared to what anybody can even do in the best economy. Are you following now? So the dynamics are almost similar, especially if you have the same mindset but this is what I'm saying. I tell people, if you are 20 years and you have understanding of personal finance, the way I coach and mentor people, you can afford to do 30% because you have a long years to accumulate and invest this 30%. If you are 40 and you are doing 30%, you might not be seriously accumulating anything, because at 40, your active years has reduced drastically to a few more years. Now at 60, if you get education at 60 for personal finance, that's why somebody like me, we have to be doing 82%, because my active years are gradually waning out. And so you just discover that you have to do more if your knowledge is coming at a very, let me say, later time. So your question is not specific, but this is how I think I can answer it. If you have more detail, you can drop a new question. How do you avoid shortage and surplus of funds for a growing business? Shortage of funds and surplus of funds, it is still about budgeting and discipline. Budget discipline and planning. You see, shortage or excess of funds many times could come out of inadequate planning or changes in economic realities. If you don't plan well, you just discover that you are in the middle of the year and there is no money to produce. You're doing business and the business is doing well, but there is no money to fund it because you didn't plan it well at the beginning. The same thing with surplus. If you have surplus of funds because you didn't plan well. Now, a second thing in reality is the change in economic reality. COVID-19 came. And so everybody, in fact, I tell this story. There's a company I know and I have interest in. We just spent 2 million naira on advertisement the week before the lockdown. So this 2 million did not generate one single dollar for the company because of COVID. So when there are changes in economic reality, you must quickly return back to the drawing board and replan and review your plans, okay? How can one separate his capital profit and still be able to save when income is not too flowing? How do you separate your capital? You see, one of the things you must know, I teach this, it may not apply, let me say, in 10% of cases, but it does apply in a lot of cases. Make your capital sacred. Whenever you run a business, tell yourself that your capital is sacred. That means it is a touch not. Okay? When you have that mindset, even if you are hungry, you're not going to touch your capital. I know it can be difficult, but it is possible. It is doable. It is achievable. All what it requires is discipline. So No matter what income is flowing, you know what to touch, but not to touch the capital. So you can. It is a matter of discipline. Let your capital be sacred to you. For those of us that have spiritual obligations, maybe if you are a Muslim, you have what we call is this sadaqah. If you're a Christian, you have what we call tithes. These things, we consider them sacred. And it's a thing of the mind. And the moment you just have that religious obligation, you never touch them if you are serious with any of this religion. Do you understand? The same way, make your capital sacred as a touch not. And you discover that sometimes when things are tight, it's a matter of consistency and perseverance. It will stabilize. What kind of risk can a starter take to push the business? It depends on the business. I cannot answer this question without knowing the business, but there is no amount of risk that is too much to take for a business. I'm not talking about uncalculated risk, but I'm talking about calculated risk. Which is preferred, a short-term or long-term investment for a growing business? Every kind of investment has its potentials. Okay, there are some investments that are not short-term. If you apply it for short-term capital, you will be in a mess. Okay, so if you are, there are some, it's just like taking a loan of 3 months, a 3 months loan to plant a palm fruit. This, I don't know exactly, but I know it takes years, or a cocoa plantation. It takes years to begin to produce and return dividend. And so 3 months capital will not be appropriate for a long or medium-term investment. Now, you can take this 3 months for a corn plantation. You are sure that you can manage. You can take this for a chicken farm. Are you getting it? So the same way, every investment has its target. So depending on the capital you have, you will know what to put it into. However, you also must understand a mix of it. There are some investment that will give you faster return on short term, and there are some, most of long-term investment does not give high returns, okay, because they're looking at a long term. However, they are preferred for some particular needs. Okay, so if someone's preparing something for retirement, you have to be thinking of long term. If you are just concentrating on capital multiplication, you look more at short term and medium term. Yes, thank you. Wellness precedes donation. What we suggest for a youth who is tired of their job but don't have the mindset to venture into business: acquire a new skill. When you say business, I hope because a skill will build a business. So acquire a new skill. Or acquire a sellable skill. Okay, you are tired of working for someone. Like I said, you are tired of helping someone to achieve his own dream. So get your own dream and work towards achieving. So get a skill and hone your skill. Hone your skill. Make sure that you are good at what you are doing. And then the job will, you can drop your job and money will still be running after you. Okay. When you are single and with a family burden, this is what I advise for anyone that is single. Please, your questions, the moment I don't see it, I think this is the last question. The moment I don't see any question again, that means the end. That is the end of the handout. Okay. Single with family burden, what do you do? You see, let's look at it with married with family burden. How is it different? It's really not different, okay? It's really not different. No much difference. As a matter of fact, married with family burdens, I mean extended family burden, can even be more dangerous than single with family burden, because now you are not looking at your child or children, you're not looking at some immediate critical burdens also. You're just looking at family, extended family, maybe your parents and your siblings, okay? Now, this is my advice. Bite only what you can swallow. What did I say? Bite only what you can swallow. Let me explain it. Now, this is what happens, and I've faced this. I've had to advise people on this. I used to have someone work for me, and many years ago, and his salary was 30,000 naira. And his salary was 30,000 naira. Every time, in fact, from the second day he received salary, he started looking very sick. From the next day he received salary, he started looking very angry and annoying. And you know, as an employer, what that does, you know, it pitches him against you. So every time you look at him, what's wrong with this guy? Why will he never be happy for once? So one day I called him to counsel him before I take a final decision to sack him. Okay, so please drop more questions. So when I called him, I discovered that he had a sick mother. He had a girlfriend, a girlfriend that was totally reliant on him. He had siblings. He is planning to go to school. He is not even a graduate. He's just a secondary school degree holder. Let's give him that big title, the secondary school degree holder. So look at all of this. And okay, let me see a little help I can offer. Mother was sick. Okay, what does this need? Needs about 7,500. Okay, take 7,500. Take care of your sick mother. But after some months, I discovered that was not even going to work. This burden was almost at an estimated value of, let's say, from hindsight, it could even be as much as 150,000 per month on someone who earns 30,000. You know what? This will kill him physically, emotionally. He's going to likely run into depression. He's never going to be able to move forward. And if he continues this way for the next 30 years, he can never, after 30 years, have broken even. Do you agree with me? Now, let's look at another scenario. So he decides by himself, another scenario, 30,000 is my income. I've made up my mind to be happy. And my expenditure, my family burden is 150,000. But even before God, God knows that this is your size. And you say, because of the family, I will not be able to do artificial scarcity, but I will try. I will close my eyes at 10,000 from this and push it into savings for investment, while everything the remaining 20,000 can do to support this, I will do it. Are you following? Yes. Sometimes this may make you look very wicked. Not as if you had this 10,000 to solve this problem. Do you agree with me? But it may make you look wicked and all of that. But do you know what? With this 10,000, month one, 10,000 in 12 months, you already have 120,000. Imagine that you invested in something that can give you 500% in a year. By the end of the second year, you have about 600,000 from this 1 year savings. And then the contribution of the next year again, by the end of the third year, 120,000 had become 600,000. With this 600,000 also becoming 3 million. Are you getting it now? If you continue this in 5 years' time, and these people, you are unable to solve their problem, they are dying, they are struggling, this money will accumulate in something that in 5 years you can now say, yes, what do you want? 150,000, I can't do 1,000, but I can solve 50, 70,000. And you do it. You continue this, and then you are able to do more. You are able to do more. A time is going to come that their need is 150,000, but you can even provide 300,000. Is that okay? So bite what you can chew. Stop wanting to be the Messiah of the family. Yes, God sent you there for an assignment. He gave you the capacity. Maybe you are still the best among the lot. But please, if the burden is more than, let's assume you have a car and the car is meant to carry 5 passengers, but you are using it to carry passenger and put cement inside it. Do you understand? And in 3 months, the car breaks down. You return back to work trekking. But let's assume that you have a car. It's meant to carry 5 passengers. You carry only 4. Okay? The cement, you say, find out you will carry your cement, or you carry 2 people or 1 person. The remaining 4 people, use your head to carry the cement. They are angry with you. They are not happy. But you have car. You understand? After some years, because of the savings you make here, you buy a truck. Now, you can carry the cement and also help other people carry the cement and make money and help these same people that you couldn't even carry in the car. So always understand that you cannot be a financial messiah until, don't forget, if you take one thing away from here today, some of you attended that training, is not on this space, but I can see some of you are here, you were in the same class that I taught this. Always remember, wellness, what? Precedes donation. First, beware before you try to carry weight. If not, you will die carrying the weight. The same people you want to help, they will still suffer. Or you will keep carrying the weight and it burdens you down and you grow old and out, and the same people will suffer with you. But get well first and come back and donate. Okay? That is my advice. How is the best way to establish your skill? Is it to get a space or start from home to establish your skill? Like I said, I believe that this question is coming from people who have lower capacity, capital capacity, and all of that. The best way, if you ask me, the best way is to get a shop, to get in fact, the best way is to get an internationally acceptable place. So if you are talking about the best way, but I understand where this question is coming from. So I know the way what you want is, how do you start with a little capital and you want to start to establish your skill and your passion? Use what is available. Start by using what is available. In anything, if you want a space, if you need a space, and your room, let me tell you, many years ago, this about 28 years ago, yeah. And I know there are some people here that can validate this thing I'm saying. You know, coincidentally, I have some of my siblings in this mentorship class and community. So sometimes when I say things, they can also validate and say, coach is telling lie. Okay. About 28 years ago, I have always loved to rear chicken or animals. Okay. I love poultry. Yeah. I love poultry. So even when I was in school, I will come from school to come and feed my animals and return back to school. I was in the hostel in the higher institution. So I had chicken. I love rabbits because I love the appearance of rabbits. So I love rabbits. I hate dogs. Everybody in my house know that I hate dog. Somebody donated 2 Rottweiler to me many years ago. I'd brought it because my children said they loved it. I told the person I will poison this dog. So please take it away. And these things, I'm sure they are worth millions. Okay, so now I had this. After that, so every time I prepare my poultry towards Christmas sales, Easter sales, and festivity sales generally. Now, what are we talking about? Establishing with little capital. So, and then my father had cages, so I could use it for free. Now I graduated, had my own house, and when I was looking for a 2-bedroom flat, what I got and was of a good price was a 3-bedroom flat. You know what? I converted one of the rooms for poultry use. And there is no way you will enter my house and know that there is a poultry inside the house. You will even sleep in the house, but you never know there's a poultry. Well taken care of, everything, the breadth of, everything was fine. What am I trying to say here? If I wanted, I could go and get a poultry, buy all this thing, and put heavy burden on a business that is still struggling to start. So always consider your financial capacity and decide. But like I said, understanding this from a perspective of somebody who is just with a little capital, please start with what you have, okay? Which might not be easy to start from home where your small cycle of people. No. If it's space, start from home. But if it is clientele, please reach to the world. For clientele base, reach out to the world. You must not start with your family. Reach out to the world. Like I said, social media space, learn social media and marketing and use it. Because you are operating. In fact, there are so many businesses today that are operating in the boots of their cars. But if you see them on the social media, you would think they have a whole complex. Nobody knows where you're operating for most time. What they need is your service and your product, okay? On leadership, what are the most important skills a leader must have? I will start with influencing. Because I love the definition of leadership that says leadership is influence. Leadership is influence. You must be able to influence people to follow you in a direction, to do what you want them to do, to act the way you want them to be. And that is one very important skill that I think a leader should have. Number 2, which seems sometimes to struggle is with this, and I don't know where to place it, is visioning. A good leader, a great leader must be able to envision. And because it is the vision you receive that you will sell to the people to influence them to follow you. Okay? So since you said most important, I classify this one as the most. Can you have or be a perfect or balanced leader? There is no perfect leader, but there are great leaders. What we have are great leaders, not perfect leaders, not balanced leaders, because at this point now, you now be talking about the models of leadership. Okay? So there's no leader that is perfect. We just have leaders, great leaders who can influence you. It is not, in fact, some of the people in the world scene of leaders or great leaders in the world today, they actually are not positive thinkers. Okay, when you think about Idi Amin, if you are still talking about leadership, they will give him as one. When you talk about Adolf Hitler, some people consider him as a great leader. Some people also consider the bad aspect of his leadership. Are you getting? So that is where this comes. In what aspects have they shown leadership? It might be positive or negative, but leadership is that, you know, if a leader, like I said, you are able to create a vision, you can also influence people to follow you, even including influencing people to follow you to do the wrong things. It's leadership. Okay. So what we have is great leaders and not so. But there are no perfect leaders. How do you manage people with different opinions to yours? How do you manage people with different opinions and working on the same team? Yes, you must be open to positive feedbacks. You must be open to what? Positive feedbacks. Okay, so it doesn't matter, because some people's contrary opinions may eventually become what will help you. And I was still telling some group of people last weekend that there's a saying in a part of Africa that while we always think that kings are the wisest in the land, the king's wisdom always comes from the fact that the king will allow everybody, the township, the chiefs, the kingmaker. So there's a matter in town and they brought it. Say, okay, what do you think? Everybody does. The chiefs, what do you think? They talk. Kingmakers, what do you think? Then the king comes to summarize everything everybody has said and is considered as a wow, wise man. Are you following now? So wisdom many times comes from diverse opinions. And so if you're a leader and you are not open to diverse opinions and positive feedbacks, then you will not be a great leader. Okay, how can your leadership skill affect your business? Wow, it can definitely in a big way affect your businesses positively and negatively. Your leadership skill will affect the team working with you, your team, positively or negatively. Your leadership team will affect your clients, okay, positively or negatively. Now, let's assume that a client comes to your, or you get into your business premise and you meet your team, a team member, and you are the owner of the business, you know, in a feast or in a shouting match with a customer. The way you handle it will also determine how your client feel about your business. Sometimes a leader will think shouting down his team member and his staff and his employee will calm the client down. Some will think it is making the client or the team member and the employee look very, why are you talking with him? He does, who is he here? Please come into my office, sit down, have a coffee, and please, can I attend to you? Some intelligent clients will say, this is not the kind of place I want to transact business with. So you must understand. So all of this thing is a combination of several things. So your skill can affect your leadership skill and disposition can affect your business in a very great way, positively or negatively. There are people are patronizing their business because of the leadership that the CEO is showing, the charisma that the CEO is showing, you know. So you must, that's why when you look at Apple is one company you need to go and study. Apple will take the best CEO from another company to employ as the next CEO for Apple, you know, because they understand that leadership is key in determining the future of organizations. Thank you very well. It looks like this is the end of the questions for today. Okay. Thank you. And I believe that since the questions are no more coming, you are satisfied with the answers. And like I said, if you are not satisfied with any of those answers because you want it to be dealt on a more personal level, please reach out to me after this meeting and we can schedule an appointment. It might be virtual. We can schedule an appointment to look at personally, to look more personal. There are some things that are taught on a global, like I said, scale. And there are some things that can now, there are a few things that when you now bring it to person, you see the need to trickle with one or two things that is generally acceptable. Okay, so once again, it's a beautiful time having you here this afternoon. And I believe that the journey to success starts with a step. And that step could include the one that you are taking today to be part of this hangout. And I appreciate you for coming. More than 500 invitations were circulated, only a few honored it. However, I believe that you have had a good pay for your time. The Financial Mentoring with YEMI Ayodele is a community with a goal to raise 10,000 wealthy people in 5 years. And I believe that this is part of the journey because wealth, like I said, begins in the mind. Many people think wealth is about money. Wealth is not about money. Wealth begins in the mind. Until your mind is set or reset, that wealth may not come. Many people have had cash in their hands and it flew away because their mindset is poor. So all that we teach here is personal financial principles, investment, mindset, understanding so many dynamics. We've taught topics like who are you, what's your name. We've taught topics like budgeting and budget discipline. We've talked about topics like building a good credit status. We've talked so many things that we've talked about in the last 4 or 5 years. And I believe that it's been worth the while. From next week again, we will resume the masterclass, which we hold every Saturday by 2 p.m. Please don't just attend this meeting. Invite someone. If you think you have learned something, invite someone to be part of the masterclass next week, Saturday by the same time, 2 p.m. on the same link. And also, for those of you who are registered members of the community, please make sure you don't miss the 8 p.m. call this evening. It's a very, very important call. It's a very important meeting. The meeting room will be open from 7:30, 7:40 thereabouts, and then the meeting proper will start by 8 o'clock on the dot. Thank you for coming on this meeting. I believe that it's been worthwhile coming here with me. My name remains again YEMI Ayodele, the lead mentor of the Financial Mentoring with YEMI Ayodele. Thanks for coming and see you again